We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Between the 1870s and the beginning of World War I, Black pioneers settled more than 100 all-Black towns in the West, each with the goal of economic independence. Among the most well-known was a Black district in Tulsa, Oklahoma, known by its residents as Greenwood.
If we were to go back in time to 1920 and walk up and down Greenwood Avenue, one thing that would probably strike us is the absolute variety of businesses. The numbers are astonishing. 30 restaurants, 45 groceries and meat markets. There were dry goods stores, milliners, photography studio, dental offices. Greenwood is no longer called Greenwood. It's now known as Black Wall Street.
This whole idea of self-containment really existed there. The dollar would stay in that community sometimes over 3-5 years before it ever went outside of the community.
In 1919, Black soldiers returned from World War I with high expectations for racial progress at home. But in one city after another, white mobs erupted in violence, targeting Black veterans, citizens, and businesses. Hundreds died. On Tulsa's Black Wall Street, African Americans, including armed veterans, watched nervously and prepared for what might come.
Countering this white militancy is very much an African American spirit of we're going to defend ourselves. If the mob comes, we're not going to run, we've got our guns, and we're going to protect ourselves. And that was especially important and valuable and potent in Greenwood.
On May 30th, 1921, the mob came to Greenwood.
This white woman is in an elevator, and this Black teenager allegedly whistles at her or talks to her. He is taken to jail. A mob gathers of whites and Blacks, and Blacks in Tulsa are armed. They take their Second Amendment rights seriously, and they come with guns. And this is a threat. Someone fires into the crowd, and the riot is born. This was not about the whistling boy in the elevator. This was about Blacks becoming too economically powerful and showing that wealth in a way that anyone would by creating buildings and constructing churches and having property.
There was a whistle that blew, and then the mass invasion and the destruction of Greenwood began.
When the smoke cleared in the early morning of June 1st, 1921, Black Wall Street lay in ruins.
This is by far the largest single incident of racial violence in all of American history.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Matt McCall. You know who I am. I am here for this very special report, Special Mayors Forum. You know, when I come on, there's something special going on. But it is Tuesday, and some of you are probably thinking, hey, he's supposed to be on with Black Words. He's supposed to be doing showing love and what have you. But today is a little different. Today, I invited a whole bunch of people on the show with me this evening to talk about a very special occasion and So a bunch of things going on in this world in this week and this day, matter of fact. So those of you who don't know, this week on the 31st will be the actual 100th anniversary of the Black Wall Street massacre that took place in Greenwood. I just saw a short video about that. So we're going to talk about that. So I decided to, because we're busy and the Soul City team is leaving, to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma to broadcast live a lot of the events and awards. There's awards given out to Michelle Obama and Kamala Harris and Congressman Charles Rangel and others. We'll be there covering the whole thing, the candlelight vigil that will happen. And we just got some word today that we might also be covering the John Legend concert. So a lot of things happening. So I got a bunch of people together. And these people are special here at Soul City, special in my heart, because they are not only just viewers and people who like Soul City and love Soul City, they have a special place. They are hosts of their own shows. So we're going to bring on first the lady that you all know and love every Thursday here at 6 p.m. She is actually getting an award, the Legacy Award, the Wall Street Legacy Award. She's actually getting 2 awards, but I'll just name that one for now. But you guys know her from Access Wealth Nation, the one and only our girl, Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse. Dr. Woodhouse is in the house. Hey, Yana.
Greetings.
Here she is. All right. Coming next to the screen is somebody that we see often, but not too often, and not often enough. But we love her. She keeps us on our toes with her energy. Her energy is so high, we got to stay focused. And she's here. You know her from Love Stream and Harlem Holistic Wellness Week, the one and only Dr. Flora Leondo.
Everyone. Hello.
How you doing, sis? She is here. Also, my man right here, I kind of dressed up like he did today, like he normally does. We're out in the field. We're doing a lot of work right now, preparing to leave for Tulsa. So we've been doing a lot of running around. So I'm not usually dressed like this, but had a swishing on and a Soul City hat. But looking like my man, the guru of getting your credit right, the one and only Mr. Tyrone Glover. What's wrong, Tyrone?
Up, everybody. How we doing? Is in the house. Can you guys hear me? Yes.
Yes, sir. We hear you, brother. We hear you. All right, let's keep it moving. We got a bunch of people on here today. Hope I can fit you all in. Let's see here. Next, the man who has a large part of in what we're doing and how we're doing it, and kind of brought me in to secure my foothold in Harlem. You know him as the one and only host of Urbanology, the one and only Mr. Tony Rogers. Tony.
Hello.
There you go. Tony is in the house. Yeah. And as we keep rolling, we got a whole bunch of people here. There's a whole bunch of hosts here in Soul City. We got one of the hosts with Yana on the other show, Say That. We got one of the hosts. She is here in the room, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Melissa Green.
Hi, hello.
One of the hosts of Say That. And along with Melissa, the other host of Say That, and also the host of what's the name of the show? She'll tell me in a minute. I forget. I'm so many things in my mind. I forgot the damn name of her show. Her story. I got so much on my mind. Her story. Yesterday, Joe. Here she is, Gina Barwell. There you go, Gina. Oh man, it's so much going on, ladies and gentlemen. Forgive me for that. But we're gonna have some fun. I think I got everybody. Did I get everybody? We might have one more person coming in, but the last but not least, I couldn't do this without Yana and all these people on the screen. But this young lady right here helps keep she's my glue. She helps keep it all together. She's my sidekick. Wherever I go, she goes, and wherever I do, damn it, she's there doing it too. So, ladies and gentlemen, here she is helping us out. The head of marketing. You guys very seldom see her, but she's in the background all the time. Head of marketing for Soul City, the one and only Miss Jasmine Piper.
Hey everybody, how you doing? We got the crew here today.
The crew is here. Now, there's a couple of people missing. Black Words, hopefully will be joining us soon. My host on Tuesday nights on Love Diaries. And the host of Sandy Alexis, the host of The Choice. She is actually at the the National Action Network. The National Action Network. She is there right now. They're having a rally or something's going on there, and she's there asking questions about Black Wall Street, talking about Yana, talking about what we're getting ready to do, and Reverend Al Sharpton will be up there also in Tulsa at the same time we are. There's a whole bunch of people up there. So Sandy is there. She might be joining us later and giving us the feedback of what's happening over there in Harlem. So she's doing double duty, but we'll talk to her later. Sandy would be the one you'll see most when we do Black Wall Street, because she is the live interview girl. If it's something live in the street, she is there. She's the one who does it and does it the best. Sandy gets everybody to talk to her. I don't know how she does it, but she gets everybody to talk to her.
Every time.
Yeah, all the time. So, all right, guys, let's get it started. So, not only let's start off with Black Wall Street. I want to ask all of you guys what Black Wall Street means to you and the significance of it in Black history and Black culture. But today is also the I hate to say anniversary, because anniversary is supposed to be happy, but the day that George Floyd was killed. Today's the day for that too. So we want to definitely pay tribute to Brother George and his untimely death. So today is that day. So we send our love and well wishes to him and his family, and to all the nation of Black folks who sat by and watched that and still remember that. I don't think that's going to leave my mind ever, seeing that. So we'll talk about that. If anybody want to talk about that, feel free to do it. But we're going to talk about Tulsa and Black Wall Street. So for those of you who don't know, you saw the video earlier. So Black Wall Street was one of the richest towns in America. Not just the richest Black towns, richest towns in America. What was exciting to me was to learn that Black Wall Street had 45 different businesses, including restaurants, hospitals, schools, churches, its own railroad, its own bus system. I believe they even had an airplane. Or airport. But the most significant thing to me, and Dr. Yan and I were talking about it, was that the money circulated in Black Wall Street for 3 to 5 years. Just think about that. 3 to 5 years, that dollar stayed inside that 4 square blocks of Black Wall Street. I think Black Wall Street was about 35 miles. It'll come back to me, but just the mere fact that money circulated like that, whereas in America right now, in Black America, your dollar circulates maybe 20 minutes if you're lucky. So compare 20 minutes to 3 to 5 hours, 3 to 5 days, 3 to 5 years. It's even hard for me to fathom that. 3 to 5 years. That's a long time of people being wealthy and being rich. So one of the things that's going to happen this weekend when we get to Tulsa, we'll be joined by Michelle Obama. We'll talk about her a little later. We'll be joined by Vice President Kamala Harris, Congressman Charles Rangel. They're all getting awards. Kamala and Michelle will be getting awards alongside Dr. Yana, our own Dr. Yana. They'll be getting awards with her. And so we'll be there filming the whole thing, broadcasting it live to you guys. So, Greenwood, Tulsa, Black Wall Street, for me, is the evidence of what we can be. The evidence of who we are, the evidence of our greatness. And that's how I see it. So I'm going to let you guys talk. Who wants to jump in first and tell us what Black Wall Street means to them?
Well, I'll start off. Black Wall Street means many different things to me. The major part is that it means possibility. We come from strong blood lines that are, if we don't dummy it down, you got to look at it. We have the opportunity for entrepreneurship and changing our circumstances at any time. And what Black Wall Street said is that this was a place where people weren't allowed to be served in other communities, weren't recognized. And instead of them saying, you know, okay, I'll keep going from the back to the back of the restaurant, I'll go in the back of the supermarket, I'll kowtow. Instead, they're like, no, my money means something. I'll do it myself. What was impressive to me was definitely like what you said, Matt, that the dollar lasted in the community 3 to 5 years, which means that everybody interacted in that township and bought from each other. And I wish and pray and hope that at some point we'll get to that. As one of our fellow advisors out here, Sean Rochester, says, we're not trying to boycott white businesses, just trying to stop y'all from boycotting Black businesses. You know, we got to start using and working with our Buy Black. And I just think that being able to be in Tulsa this weekend and receiving an award on the day that the catastrophe took place, the massacre took place, that the ancestors are shining upon us to make a difference. So Black Wall Street is the beginning for us, and it's the Alpha and the Omega.
Mm-hmm. You know what? And before we go any further, we've just been joined by the newest host of Soul City on one of the Soul City shows that just launched about a month or so ago. Mr. Dwayne Norris from Soulful Synergy is here. What's going on, bro?
Hey, Dwayne.
Good seeing you, my brother.
Good afternoon, everyone. Great to see you all. How's it going?
Yes, sir, brothers. Thank you for joining us, man. Soulful Synergy is a great show. They talk about people and bringing power to the people in the community, and they're doing some great interviews with some great people and politicians and whatever. So I love that show. Matter of fact, you know, we actually are doing a live broadcast tomorrow with you guys. We do have a live broadcast tomorrow. We're going to be doing live special broadcasts, and we will be doing that live tomorrow evening. So let's go around the room. Dr. Flora. Dr. Flora, you know, our Afro-Latina, and she, you know, I love Dr. Flora because she is unapologetically Black. You know, say she's born and raised in Puerto Rico, and you know, she knows her roots, and she rocks that Afro. And you know what I'm saying, and she can create y'all in English and Spanish. So
real quick, 0 to 100, real quick.
You know what I'm saying? And she can heal you at the same time because she is an acupuncturist, licensed holistic healer. So she'll tear you down and build you back up. So Dr. Flora, Black Wall Street, what does it mean to you? And in particular, you know, let's in your roots being in Puerto Rico, what does it mean to you? What does Black Wall Street say to you?
For me, my spirit immediately says that it's unlimited, that we have the spirit within ourselves to continue to do what we can financially in health, because it never stops. You know, there is a time where people thought that only one particular race was able to make money. No, it's in our spirit, has always been, and has been proven through both sides. That we have to believe in ourselves, no matter where you are, to build that money. Money doesn't have to come. What stops us is our own mental state. But if we can believe what we can and find the right sources, like Dr. Donna, which she's doing amazing work, is definitely understand how to use money.
Excellent. Matter of fact, another one of our hosts just jumped in. The co-host of Soul Synergy. I don't know where he went. I see there he is. And my man, another Latino. Here he is, my brother. Alex is in the house, my brother. There you go. So, you know, Alex is the co-host with Dwayne on Soulful Synergy. Alex, we're going to talk to you in a minute. We're talking about Black Wall Street and what it means to us, and what do we feel it. And Flora just talked about it from her aspect of being an Afro-Latina. And we're going to go around the room, and I'm going to go to my man Tyrone, the credit guru, and talk about Black Wall Street. We'll talk about it.
Shall I say Black Wall Street? Well, first and foremost, let me say hello to everybody. And congratulations, Gianna. You got a reward coming up, and that means so much to not only me, but I know it means a lot to you, but congratulations. So for me, Black Wall Street means empowerment. It means that we cannot stop no matter what happens. No matter what. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing. We got to keep showing that we have not only the potential, but also the ability regardless. So for me, it's been a blessing to learn more about it, and that what's made me even more pursue this credit understanding. We got a history behind us that showed us we can do it. Now we need everybody who's part of this panel to realize that, and of course you already realize it because you wouldn't be on this panel if you didn't, but we need everybody to be able to speak it, live it, understand it, and breathe it. Because that's what, for me, Black Wall Street means. We cannot stop. We can't give up. We got to keep pushing through regardless of the challenges.
Mm-hmm. We got it's you know, and it does me. It really touches me when I look on the screen, and there's dozens of people who are on here right now, and it's growing and growing and growing. And a lot of people who are on here are people who watch every single last one of these shows. There's some people on here like Elizabeth who watches every show down there. You know what I'm saying? I see her name pop up and she answers questions, she asks questions, and she participates in a lot of the shows. She just said hi to Tyrone. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, you know, so for those who are out there watching, we appreciate you because Soul City doesn't exist without you guys who are watching us and spreading the word and saying hello. So, Dwayne,
and Matt, don't forget, well, we're gonna have special gifts for our viewers. Ooh. People who watch every week, but we're gonna have a special gift for our viewers.
And just breaking all the rules and stuff. What's gonna be happening? She let them know up front. We got some special stuff getting ready to happen. We're gonna announce a lot of Soul City stuff that's going on right now. Things that have come to the forefront with us. And things that we're proud of. But right now, one of my most proud things is this Black Wall Street thing that we're doing. So, Dwayne, we're going to go to you, brother, and ask you about Black Wall Street and the significance of it to you. And
absolutely. Well, first, let me say a congratulations to Soul City for being asked to be out there and capturing this live, and Dr. Jana. Congratulations to you for receiving this award. It's a huge honor, and I know you represent all of us so well, and we just appreciate you for being a pioneer. Black Wall Street means to me a number of things. One, racism, miseducation. The fact that it took me until my adulthood to even know that Black Wall Street existed, to me, is a travesty. Something that was not taught to us in schools and that was not part of my daily college knowledge or conversation all the way up and through college. Is just something that is still a bit of a stain on our American history. So the fact that we have to find out about these things so late in life or through these obscure channels is unfortunate. But what it also means to me is a lot of perseverance, and to know that even in the midst of everything that was happening in that time period, we were able to build this amazing city and this amazing community that was self-sufficient, that was collaborative, that was independent, and figured out a way to, leverage the American capitalistic system, but not be reliant on, the white infrastructure. And I just think those are some amazing things that we need to be proud of and that need to realize that we can replicate. So to Tyrone's point, definitely is something that we need to hold dear and persevere, to know that that's a place that we can not only get back to again, but to really build from that experience and create something brand new in the world of Black wealth and Black economics. So really cool to be here for everybody tonight, and look forward to hearing everybody else's perspective.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Appreciate that. I want to break Alex and Dwayne up, because they're always together. We're talking, but why not? Go ahead, Alex. Talk to us, brother. Tell us what's going on. How you feel?
I'll be honest with you. This is something that definitely gets me very passionate about it because, you know, Wayne and I are best friends for a very long time, right? And I get to learn about this world through him and also through his eyes. And learning about this human history and this, you know, this atrocity that happened. It's something, again, like the Bruce said, like, it's not something that you learn in school. And it's something that whether you're Latino, Black, or whatnot, whoever has a passion for the people will be offended by this, will be surprised by this, would be appalled by this, right? And to see that, you know, from that there has been some, I guess, some progress, I guess, to use that word. You know, there is some light at the end of the tunnel, but nonetheless, it's still so much work to be done. And again, coming from a perspective that, you know, I get to learn about that life through my future partner's eyes, just being with him and also being at the front line with him to be part of these, to be a change maker and agent of change. It's just, you know, it's this is why this is important, you know, for us at Social Synergy, for us to be part of this conversation, because sometimes he gets to learn and I get to learn, and at the end of the day, with others and this stuff hits home, whether or not I look like him or not, right? This is something that is still part of my history as well as his, because we're in this together, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So thank you for letting me speak, and I would literally be a part of the world and learn, continue to learn, and appreciate what you all are doing.
Cool, Alex. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. And we're having a hard time hearing you. You're a little muddled in the voice, the audio, but I know that's because you're out in the community doing work. That's one thing I know. Every time we turn around, you are in the community doing work. You
That's
never
a fact.
stop. You know what I'm saying? And I really appreciate that about you, man. You are always out there doing something, helping somebody, or looking for something, or looking for a way to help somebody. And I think, you know, that's one of the, and that's, to me, is also one of the biggest things for me with Soul City is we got to find ways to help people. You know, we have to go out there in the community. That's why what we do, and we'll make some big announcement on how we're going to help the community and some of the big news that the community will be benefiting from. But I'm going to go Gina. Gina Bartwell from Save That and Her Story. Talk to us, Gina. What does Black Wall Street mean to you?
Thank you, Matt, for telling me about this at the last minute.
No, we talked about it the other day.
What? I'm like, what? I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to see everybody, Melissa, Yana, Dr. Flora. Hi, I've been waiting to meet you. So, welcome everybody. You too, Tony. How are you? Hey. So, when I think about Tulsa, I know I used to be in an organization. Don't get mad at me, called Jack and Jill, and so we used to have a lot of people from Tulsa, and they were great people, wonderful people, but they didn't smile a lot. They didn't talk a lot, and they were very kind of insular. And so I often think of Tulsa and that sort of blemish as this fabulous group of people who no one knew until all of this was uncovered. It was uncovered years ago for some of us, but still it was, even to the people of Tulsa, it was this blemish, this horror that happened to them was kept very quiet. But what they modeled was prosperity. They modeled trust. They modeled love. They modeled finance. And they modeled community. And they held that together by being absolutely unapologetically segregated. And they had this beautiful community that was almost so insular, what they only needed each other to function and prosper. There was success in banking, success in insurance, success in education, success in, general stores, which had goods and, flour, beans, dry goods, materials, and everything that you needed. And they understood the technology that went along with that. They built their own houses, so they were also cabinet makers, woodsmith, blacksmith. They created a utopia and modeled that and did it so well, and even had their own security to secure their families, husbands and wives taking care of properties. And then they were obliterated because why? They did it too well. They were so successful at it. And it scared a whole group of people. So I think if there's something that we can learn about the people from Tulsa, is we can marvel in how well they prospered, how well they did what they, how well they carried on the Black Wall Street legacy. And from that, we can learn the tools that they used, which were really pretty, I would say, not as advanced as we are now, but yet advanced more than what most communities were. And because they were so good at what they did, they caused a lot of disharmony, jealousy, and brought up the darkness in white people who felt that they had to dampen the light.
Okay.
So we need to go back and find that light, go back and just carry on their honor and just be prosperous, be happy, and use those tools of economics and, you know, love and community, and build on their success and not let it die and be obliterated into pictures of smoke and desecrated sidewalks and crumbling buildings. We owe them a lot. We're on their shoulders, and we have to do better for them, if no one else. So that's my view.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna go to your sidekick, you, Yana, and Melissa. You guys and say that got stuff going on. Melissa, talk to us. Tell us what you think about Black Wall Street. What does it mean to you?
Hey guys! I'm so happy to be here, and really that you. I'm here to really share a voice. One thing that I wrote down when I just give thoughts when I thought of Black Wall Street is knowledge is never lost. I don't know why that came to me. Well, I know why. Knowledge is never lost. I think what that experience in Black Wall Street, what it showed everybody, and it's like a proud example of, self-sufficiency is the key to our success. That a lot of people in my generation think that you have to get a job in order to be successful, that you have to depend on the government in some kind of way. You always have to have government oversight in order to build our race or your community up. But when you learn to be self-sufficient, learn your skills, educate yourself, so much is possible. And that piece of history, even though they burned it down, it was not lost. It was an example. It was something that can never be lost. They made the mold to what we can do now. So I'm excited about everything that's going on and what they represent and everything going forward, and how of course the pandemic, a lot of entrepreneurship is like in the air. Like people are realizing when everybody lost their jobs, you have to learn something, you have to open a new skill, you have to keep growing. And the fact that George Floyd died on the anniversary of Black Wall Street, it was just like so symbolic. And I think everybody got the message that in order to progress as a people, in order to have stuff really change, that you have to educate yourself and look back in the past and it's successful. It's just that we'll pick it right. To keep growing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go to Tony. Talk to us, Tony.
Well, a number of things, Matt. One, when I think of Black Wall Street, I automatically think about the difference between integration and segregation. A lot of people believe that segregation was wrong. What was wrong with segregation because it was, separate but not equal. Had segregation been separate but equal, we would have more Black Wall Streets, which we did, or in education in itself. So the idea of integration, I understand it, but it also fell into the psychological warfare of Jim Crow, which is still with us. And it started in slavery, but really from an economic standpoint, created this type of illusion that blacks were not able to compete, which was, as we know. Now, the other thing is that many believe that in 2020, the new age of Aquarius came into being, which is an age of awakening, an age of justice, an age of uncovering a number of different truths. And whether you believe in astrology or not, you have to admit that since 2020, many things that, especially as it relates to the Black and Brown community, came to be, whether it was George Floyd, whether it's health issues, education issues dealing with COVID, whether it was an awakening of the mindset of how racism has been so embedded in this country that it almost, became something that people accepted subconsciously. And so the fact that we are celebrating 100th anniversary, and again, congratulations, Dr. Woodhouse, for being part of this celebration, and Soul City for being there. The fact that we are here, that we have this platform, I believe we're moving into another era. And believe me, white supremacy is not going to just lay down. It's going to be, it's a fight, and we can see it. We can see it in government. It's the last stand. When you talk about Custer's last stand, this is Custer's last stand. And I just saw that, I think it was the governor of Oklahoma, who has put out a new requirement that schools can't teach systematic racism. And whether it's the voting, all of the things that have been suppressed, all of these things are trying to hold on, trying to keep the old, making America great again. And the funny thing about it is that Donald Trump did more to allow for us to understand what happened in Tulsa last year when he was going to have his Make America Great Again rally in Tulsa on the 31st, which automatically allowed for people to become aware of it. So we're moving into an era. And just like in wellness, sometimes you got to get worse before you get better. Sometimes the issues that in healing, sometimes braining that out. I'm an example of that because many of you know I've just gone through getting worse before I got better. But the fact of the matter is, there's hope, because just like the young people say, we're woke now, and not only are we woke, the country is woke. I mean, throughout the world, globally, based on this movement. And I have to go back to this Age of Aquarius thing. If you look at what the Age of Aquarius means, that's what we're seeing. We're seeing all of these things happening. But for people of color, this is a time, for struggle, but it's a time also to be aware and to keep doing what we're doing.
Tony, you said a lot of key points as everybody did, and we're going to go back to it. I'm going to try and remember all the things everybody said that I wanted to bring up. But let's end this part of the show, this segment, with Miss Jasmine Pfeiffer in her knowledge and brainstorming on Black Wall Street. Jasmine, what do you feel?
Well, thank you. You didn't forget me this time. That's nice. So, it's interesting. 3 years ago, if you would have asked me what was Black Wall Street, I wouldn't know, right? So Black Wall Street brings up a couple of different emotions, and one of the first emotions being proud, right? Knowing that your people did something at some point, but then at the same time, it brings this feeling of disappointment that we don't still have it, right? We don't have that that structure that we built, the social structures, the businesses, the independence that we had at that one point. We don't have that anymore. So it brings up a couple of different emotions. And then on the other hand, it brings up kind of a sadness because there's a lack of education in our community, right? The fact that I just learned about Black Wall Street, and I'm a millennial, one of the big millennials, but the fact that I just learned about Wall Street a few years ago says something about our community, that we need to educate ourselves on the greatness, whether it's the greatness in America or the greatness prior to America, right? We're talking about an ancient time. There's a lot of knowledge that we're not taught, that needs to be taught in our community. And, that's just some of the emotions that get brought up when I think about Black Wall Street. However, on the same token, I know that we have the structured opportunities to do better, to build better, right? And we're in the era now of social media, of the internet, where the internet connects everyone to anything and everything. There's an abundance of knowledge on the internet. So for you not to know isn't an excuse anymore, right? So that's how I feel. It's a time of awakening, understanding, rediscovery of things that we didn't know, knowledge, and now the internet has become the libraries that we no longer have, right? The books that that's now the internet, and now we have an opportunity not only to rediscover and learn, but to read and just become better at who we are, what we are, and how to move forward and the negativities in history. So that's those are the thoughts that come to mind when I think about Black Wall Street.
We have here, thank you, Jasmine. We have here a well-rounded example of Black greatness from the youngest person here in the room, who I'm going to dare say might be Jasmine, to the oldest person in the room, who I might dare say might be Tony. But a lot of information. When Jasmine said that she just learned about Black Wall Street not too long ago, and I remember reading a article that the mayor of Tulsa, a white guy, the mayor of Tulsa, who's like 28 years old or something like that, he never heard of Black Wall Street. And he's the mayor of Tulsa. Mm-hmm. And there's a young guy, they're going to try and interview him when we get out there. It's a young guy, I forget his name right now, but he's a rapper. And
Steven,
thank you. And he was a rapper. He was doing trap rapping and the Southern style of rap and what have you. And he's 23 years old right now, I believe. Born and raised in Tulsa, and never heard of Black Wall Street until recently. And I say recently, maybe a year or so ago, maybe 2 years ago, most. And when he found out about Black Wall Street, and he immediately started studying about it. He said, "Wait a second, I live here. I was born here. How come I never heard of this?" And so he started doing some research and then changed his rap style and went into more conscious rap, more uplifting, economic type of rap, talking about Black Wall Street and what have you. So it showed me that when we have the information, our minds change naturally. When we find things that are more positive to do and to talk about, we do it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a natural thing for us to gravitate towards that which is pure and right. I believe a lot of the younger people and older people just don't have the right information. why they say the things they say or talk about the things they talk about. They just don't have the right information. So, being able to bring our stuff home, and we hope that we'll be able to interview this young man. The other part of the story, he was taking a picture in front of a mansion in Tulsa that was owned by the Grand Dragon of Ku Klux Klan, who was born and raised in Tulsa also. And there's a town or area of the town named after him. And so the guy's grandson or great grandson owns this mansion now. And he saw the rapper taking pictures out front. Say, hey, what you got taking pictures for? This is cool, And they just started talking, invited him into the house, took him around, told him how fucked up his grandfather was and stuff like that. And they decided to collaborate. And the guy built a recording studio in his house, in the mansion. He took a wing in the mansion and built a recording studio and invited the guys, hey, let's, record here. Let's do it from here. And invite a whole bunch of other rappers to come in and start recording there. So it's a whole story, but again, it's a story of information, how you could be the mayor of Tulsa, Oklahoma and not know about Black Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make any sense to me. And then he had the nerve to say, well, it was a race riot and it was burned down. I can't believe that. That would never happen here in Tulsa. So it's just like the white school teacher recently who got fired from her job by telling her students that George Floyd didn't die from a foot on his neck, but he died of drugs in the system for that, So, and that was recent right here, I believe it was here in New York or upstate somewhere. But so we have a lot of that stuff going around, misinformation, lack of information on our parts is, how many people in our own communities don't know about Black Wall Street. Say it again, for
Straight up lies.
Yeah. We don't know.
The whitewashing of America.
Yeah, whitewashing.
Wash you.
Yeah, it's swept under the rug. Swept under the rug. They hide it. So what they say, Michael Dyson, he said that America's greatest sin is slavery. That's his greatest sin, and that's his biggest sin. Matter of fact, let me change it. He said that's its original sin. The original sin was slavery and racism, and that's so true. And they sweep it under the rug. And we're getting support, and I will shout out World Financial Group and Transamerica, who is helping to support us, and they're sponsoring parts of the Black Wall Street celebration, and I definitely thank them and all the other sponsors who have come forward. Not a lot of them, but those that did come forward and say, hey, look, we'll be a part of this. And this weekend, there will be a lot of events. The part that we're in is with the World Council of Mayors. And it's one small part of what's going to happen in Tulsa this weekend that we're going to get swept up in. There'll be tons of celebrities there. John Legend's doing a huge concert that, as it looks like, we might be a part of now. They did reach out to us today to see if we would be a part of it. And then there's Al Sharpton's doing a march, and there's a candlelight vigil that we will broadcast also. But the star of the show, and before I even get to the star of the show, I must thank Tara Renee, the CEO of African American Women in Cinema, for her work and her, it was her that got us in there. And our partnership with them, she was in. They asked her to do some stuff, and she said, "Okay, how are you guys structuring this? How's this going to be handled? Who's doing the media? Who's doing the production of this? Who's handling this?" And then she said, "You need to call Matt McCoy and ask him to do it. Call Soul City, ask them would they do it and handle it." And of course, I said, "Yes, hell yes." And but before she called me, she said she remembered that she needed to call me because they're doing Black Wall Street, and how dare you do anything about Wall Street without the first Black woman who's on Wall Street? It was because of Black Wall Street that Yana went to Wall Street. That was a part of it. It had to be. It had to be part of her bones. Part of her DNA to say, hey, So all those things are, yes. Thank you, Patriana. Thank you. Patriana says, Queen Mother Blakely will be there also. She will be there.
Being
She's
honored
also getting
also.
honored. That's right. They are. Yes, Patrick. I'm covering all that. I'm covering that whole thing. So thank you for reminding me that Queen Mother Blakely will definitely be there. She's getting honored along with. I mentioned Charles Rangle earlier. So we'll be there covering that whole thing. But there's so many. That's one part of it. Like I said, there's so many events. We will be doing a tour of Black Wall Street also, and we're going to cover that. And try to bring that to you live and walk you through the streets with us, and so forth. So it's going to be a lot of exciting things happening. But Yana, you're the star of the show, because you're Soul City, and because you are phenomenal in who you are. With or without Soul City, you are phenomenal. And you kicked it off. You went to Wall Street, and Yana does have a book coming out, and I will say that that movie on her life, we are still working on it, and it's still we're just waiting to get a green light and find the right script that's going to tell her story about the first Black woman on Wall Street and the hell that she went through. But Yana, I'm going to let you talk about Wall Street itself and the journey that you had to take to keep the powerful energy of Black Wall Street running through your veins, the way you didn't give up on Wall Street when they tried to get you out of there and force you out by any means necessary outside of killing you. They probably wanted to do that as well. But so just tell your quick story, Yana, about Wall Street and your award and what you're getting on this.
Well, one of the things, and thank you, Matt, thank you for this forum. I think that our children really need to hear from us about what happened and how we didn't just lay down, give up, that we fought. We fought from a spiritual basis and a physical basis. One of the things about Wall Street, the reason why I went to work on Wall Street and why I had the passion to find out how to become a trader and to be on the retail side, because the retail would allow me to work with my people, so I thought. But it was all started with, I had my tax office, as many know. I started my tax office, I bought it when I was 19 years old. And I needed to help my clients. It was in the early 80s, and I needed to help my clients get certain types of investment. And they would go out and come back and say that nobody would help them, or that they weren't qualified. And so I needed to find out why. So I did what I do best, which is go around and talk about the fact that, how do I get to Wall Street? How do I get in there? It wasn't like I could go to a bunch of folks in my neighborhood and ask, because most of them were not trading on Wall Street. They might work on Wall Street, but they weren't trading. And I finally did get someone who got me an interview, and I was able to start, but it wasn't easy, and it never is easy for us, and I'm not looking for easy, but I'm not looking for you to put obstacles in my way either all the time. And the biggest part, I think, was once when I really got hired, I got brought into the firm, Omni Mutual, and they gave me a chance. There were some men in the office. Matter of fact, it was an office of 32, including myself. And there was one other woman. Then there was all these men. There were some men of color, but majority mostly white men. And there were trials and tribulations, but one of the biggest episodes, and I think that our children need to know, and everyone needs to know, Wall Street is named Wall Street because that's where the slave ships stopped. That's where the auction block existed. And so the traders, the slave owners, didn't want their precious wives and children to see a horrific treatment of these people. These were human beings. They didn't want them to see this. And so they built a wall so that the women and the children would not see. I know this to be true. One thing is that, of course, it's historical maps that show it. The other on a spiritual basis. When I got to Wall Street and I was working, I was so joyous. I'm walking down the street and I'm passed by the Federal Reserve. When I passed the Federal Reserve, I collapsed. And I was like, it hurt me. And then I found out that was the major trading block. My ancestors were speaking to me, telling me, you okay, you're here, but you got some work to do. And it was one that I think we need to know. We all need to take a trip to Wall Street. We need to recapture our ancestors' energy and let them know that we haven't given up on them. You know, that we know they fought for us, they made it. And I had a chance to talk to some young people last year that was so awesome because I said, you come from great blood. I don't even know if I could have made it 3 months in a ship with folks dying and doing all sorts of stuff, defecating, throwing up all around me. I got this blood that's survival. It is as survival, it's creation. So yeah, it's an experience. I think that somehow, and that's one of my biggest challenges, is trying to get my young folks, the next generation, to take an interest in how money works, how to make a difference, how to, don't get rich quick schemes. I need them to understand that I will help them to understand how money works so that they can build another 4 or 5, maybe 20 or 30, or 50 Wall Streets of our own, where we work within ourselves, and the awesome be able to 3 years have our money trade back and forth amongst each other, and really stop asking people. I remember my mom said so well, gimme got you. So you don't ask for gimme. You've got to take it and work it and make sure you know. I don't know why our people shy away so much from building and dealing in money. We spend it, we make it. Don't get me wrong. I got it. We make it. And I know, we know how to spend it. Lord knows we can spend money before we even get it, But how do I make it work for me? What's the power? Brother Tyrone, he spends a lot of time talking on his show about how to leverage your credit and work with it, make it work for you. He doesn't get the proper audience. People should be flocking to hear what he has to say. But no, we go listen to some beatbox and stuff going on, but we won't listen to the things that are going to make us stronger as a community within a community. So that was my experience. It's still my experience. I'm glad that I retired from that and moved to another level. I love Soul City, and Access Wealth Nation gives me that forum that they can't stop me from talking. And if they did, I still talk. Because you know what? They can't do anything to me. The worst they can do is kill me. And if I die, now you got some real trouble. So now I'm a spirit floating out there going, drive your butt crazy. So that's what I got to share.
You know what? It's funny because Dr. Yana, we all, I think, and this is my thoughts, and you guys can chime in, is that Black Wall Street is known for its economic power, its economic empowerment. Most people don't even know that Black Wall Street lent the American government money.
Mm-hmm.
Government, I think it was $5 million or something like that, or $20 million, something like that.
Well, that's the equivalent. It was really $300,000.
I'm sorry.
Millions in today's money.
Right. But we recognize Black Wall Street for its economic empowerment. But I believe that, I think Dr. Flora talked about it earlier, I think Dwayne talked about it, which actually leads me into Dwayne and Alex and the stuff that they're doing, the wonderful work that they're doing in the community and on their show, is that Black Wall Street was also cultural empowerment. They were very culturally empowered. They made sure that they helped their people to be successful. So when you came to Black Wall Street, if you needed a home, they would make sure you got a home and help you build it. You know what I'm saying? And make sure that you were surrounded by a community of culturally empowered people who were staying true and prideful of their Black culture and who they were. The economic was the piece that people, I think, see because they owned all this and they ran it, and they were just great businessmen and entrepreneurs, but they were culturally empowered. And I think, that's one of the big things that I always strive for myself and for my community. But I know Dwayne and Alex, you guys do that a lot. You guys try to bring power to the people, which is the name of your show. So you try to bring power to the people and culturally enrich them. And I love it because we often, they found ways to break us up, whether it's through a religion or places that we were from, but you can't break up, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't break up African people. So whether you're born in Africa or born in America or born in Puerto Rico or born in the Dominican Republic or whatever, you're still the same people. So born in Brazil, you know what I'm saying? So, so quickly, Dwayne, talk about the cultural enrichment that you believe, if you do believe, Black Wall Street represents, and how you try to use that power in what you're doing with social synergy and people power.
No, absolutely. Well, definitely, I believe it that the group economics is the way that we're going to thrive, right? Black liberation is a combination. We're now free physically, but not free mentally and not free economically, right? We know the stats that by 2053, Black wealth will be, declining down to zero. We don't own enough stake in this country to really be able to have influence on a political level, on an economic level, which is disempowering on so many fronts. And it is mentally draining, physically draining. It part of what leads to the drug problems in our communities. It's so many things. I don't have a problem with capitalism, but I do know how difficult it is to operate in a capitalistic system when you have no resources. And so part of the plight of the Black community is that, and part of what we're trying to address through our work and through our show is how we build our communities from that kind of grassroots. And it does take this collaborative approach. Our Soulful Synergy name is that we do believe it is obviously individual responsibility, but it is the role of our government, of our nonprofits, of our for-profits to find ways to work collaboratively to solve problems. And a lot of our work is centered around workforce development because we see, and we're trying to look ahead to where are the opportunities in our communities. The landscape of work doesn't look the same today as it did 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and sometimes not even 5 years ago. That there's opportunities in the trades that we don't often promote. College, pro-college, and that's nothing wrong with that, but there are other opportunities that we shouldn't look down on. So getting into the trades, great opportunities. If you look at the new world of economics, there's social media, YouTubing, doing things of this nature, right? There's a whole nother ecosystem of opportunities. There's now electric vehicles, and somebody's got to maintain those, and you have to get a whole new set of knowledge that's not necessarily going to be taught in a college classroom. And so what we look at, as my business partner likes to say, where the puck is going. Where is the economic opportunities? You look at the cannabis industry that's about to come, roaring into a whole new, dynamic. How do we make sure that our people are positioned to be at the forefront of that? And so as we look ahead, we say, okay, well, where are the opportunities that are going to be coming for Black and brown people, and how do we make sure that we're building it up together so that we can have group economics, so that we can essentially, I want to go back to the barter system of sorts where we're all subcontracting each other's services, where I don't want to have 1,000-person staff where I have 1,000 employees. I'd rather have partners. I'd rather have business partners, people I collaborate with, businesses I subcontract with, so everybody can build their own as we go. The more entrepreneurs, the better. And so I do think that Black Wall Street gave me that sense, as you mentioned before, was all these different individuals, but working collaboratively in that spirit. And where everybody there understood that you needed to circulate that money within that economy, within that ecosystem, for us to really have power and for us to be able to leverage it in a way that was meaningful. And so I hope that we're getting back to that. We all know that money doesn't circulate in the Black community now, but as we all look to get better jobs and opportunities, I hope we do take that into consideration of how do we partner with one another, how do we leverage each other's resources, go after bigger funding opportunities because we can subcontract each other. That's what I've been doing in our work. If we can't fulfill an entire contract, we look at what other small businesses and Black-owned businesses can we partner with that we can go after that whole pie together and then break it up and share it accordingly. And so, yeah, I'm loving the work that Soul City does. We appreciate you all for giving us this platform. Tomorrow night we have a special guest on with us, Shane Osinloye. He's a Black gentleman from out of Westchester, and he runs an organization called Urban Legacy Foundation. And basically, they're committed to this exact same work: Black economics, Black elevation, and how do we leverage the resources that we have collectively to take advantage of these opportunities that are coming in tech and every other industry where we're not currently heavily represented.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marcel.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, Dwayne, thank you. It's interesting because you said something that reminded me of my man Sean Rochester. And if you guys haven't, or anybody out there, if you haven't read the book, The Black Tax, please get that book. He has another one out now, and forgive me for not remembering the other one, but Sean, he's been on with us many, many times. Tim and Yana have partnered to do some major economic empowerment workshops and seminars and tours and what have you. And but he said one day he was on the show with Yana one day, and I asked the question. Actually, I think it was my show that I was actually hosting, and I asked the question. I said, "Well, we are so quick to boycott, which is fine. Companies that we don't believe are serving our interests, and there's nothing wrong with that." But he said something to me that stuck with me to this day, and it rings true. He said, "Yeah, that's fine, but you know what? For Black people, we need to not stop boycotting our own businesses." Meaning that we need to get out there and spend our money with our businesses, so that dollar does circulate in the community for a day, for a month, for a year. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you go. So you can't boycott your own businesses, which we do unknowingly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're so quick to run to to Target or go on Amazon to buy something, which is nothing wrong with that. But there are Black-owned businesses that we could support. Say we can we might have to travel an extra block or two to get there, but we can go there and we can support them. You know what I'm saying? So we got to start boycotting our own businesses. And so we talked about the urban market, and Tony, that's right up your thing with this show, Urbanology. And you've been working diligently for all your years. You was the head of the, forget the actual title, but the urban agenda or something like that for City College for 1,000 years. And but no, I say that, lovingly because, Tony actually, y'all don't understand, Tony actually has made what we know as Harlem today. A lot of it is because of Tony.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The chamber being in place and doing his work. Harlem Week, creating Harlem Week. He was one of the founders of Harlem Week, and all the work he did at City College as the president of, and Tony, you can talk about the actual title, but the words that you did and the stuff I know that you've done, that you've helped other Black people do things, and there are other Black people who are empowered to this day because of Tony. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to empower each other. When we get in a position, I'm in a position with Soul City to do some great things. I have reach, I have access, I have resources. Those resources mean nothing to me if I can't use them to help everybody else. If I can use them to help empower the community, then then who am I? You know what I'm saying? I'm just another Negro with a couple dollars. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that's right. But Tony, talk about urbanology and quickly if you can, and how urbanology fits even into the Black Wall Street mindset.
Well, urbanology is really a concept that comes from keeping in mind the actual concept of urbanology comes out of my study of urban planning and urban policy. there was a concept, a lot of people know about Robert Moses, who didn't have a lot of love for black people, but he had a concept that bringing different segments together could empower people in communities, whether it's religion, whether it's economics, and all of those types of things. And in studying that, I was able to create a number of things with one basic formula. If I make you strong, it makes me strong. If I'm strong, I'll make you strong. And what a lot of times we don't understand is that it's a lot of me. But the idea is that if I can do something that empowers you, then that empowers me. And that's how, whether, the things that I've done, whether it's WACR or what's happening at City College or whatever, the idea is if I can leave a situation better than it was when I got there, then I've played that forward and I've created a situation where whatever I'm doing has allowed for other people to take that to another level. One of the great things about Soul City that has always encouraged me to support it was to be able to change our narrative, because our narrative had been hijacked. We've been brainwashed in believing that we have to be individualists rather than, we always had a communal mindset, and that was taken away from us. So for many years, I was, Harlem Week was 47 years old. And before that, there were many other things. So I've been actually working in the urban community for over 50 years to create a solution that allows for people, whether it's the Harlem Community News, the WACR. I served 5 presidents at City College. And the reason for that was based on the chamber and the political components of it, and being able to allow for me not to be in the forefront, but to be the person that, if there's a problem, I'll take care of it. And if it works, I'll give you the credit. And that allowed for me to, survive. This book is next to the door. Only recently my name got out there because, sometimes you gotta, do what you need to do. But my background is really allowing for people to be empowered, to allowing for people to utilize all of the things that I've developed. And that just comes from connections, networking, being able to deal with different types of people, different types of ideas, and coming to the common ground as to what allows for us all to be able to work together. And that's how Black Wall Street is done. And there's been a lot of Black Wall Street. There's been a lot of Tulsas. I mean, but which is why Jim Crow came about. Jim Crow was to, create a situation to allow for us to be bamboozled, spike-headed well. There was an understanding of our abilities. Yana made it clear. For us to, the Blacks who came to America in particular, and to go through that passage, that was horrific. If you ever go to Senegal and you go to Gary Island, you'll see, the passageway that changed the migration routes of sharks because of so many Blacks either jumping over or being thrown over. So the ones who came to America was the strongest that Africa could produce. And then the slavery, all of this stuff comes out, but what happened to slavery, Tony Rogers or William Anthony Rogers wasn't that by name. You know, I mean, so to be able to overcome and to get to where we are now, it's an amazing, and I'm sure, hopefully, history will be able to record some of the things that we are experiencing now and understand how our people were able to overcome that in which we've been able to overcome and still stay strong, still we rise. So, but it's connecting. That's the thing that we have to really get out of whatever we're doing at this particular quest. Because we've been subconsciously brainwashed not to trust each other, not to want to deal with each other, because that is what makes us strong. And that is what has weakened us. That's our kryptonite. You know, I'm not going to trust this person because they're not going to do right by me. I'm not going to share my money with you because we're not going to do that. And we have to get past that. And I believe that we're moving in that point. As I had mentioned before, segregation was wrong because it was equal, supposed to be equal, but it wasn't. You know, and the fact of the matter is that was another bamboozle. You know, so we have to work together. Soul City, I love what you guys, I should say we are doing, because we're able to have these conversations. We're able to change the narrative. We're able to make our own celebrities, you know, to be able to allow for people to understand. There are people who are looking at this now who might not have known about Tulsa or any of the things that we're talking about. And if it wasn't for the ability to do this, they probably shouldn't. You know, I'm a Juneteenth baby. You know, June 19th. Matter of fact, they made a holiday after my birthday now. But I'll be 74 years old. I can remember not being able to go into the same bathroom as a white person, or not even be able to drink out of the same water fountain. I can remember that. So
look at Jasmine with her eyes wide open. What?
I mean, can you imagine having to go to the bathroom and there's a bathroom that's open and you can't go in there because to be able to remember that means that it hasn't been that long ago.
Right.
I'm still here.
Exactly. And that's the point.
So when we talk about all this stuff, we're not talking about something, there's been 100 years before, but 100 years before that, we were slaves. So we have come a long way, but there's a long way that we have to go. But the important thing is our psychic. That's the important. It's not even the economics. It's the psychological deficit that we have been able to, that we've lived under. That inferiority complex that has been implanted like a chip in our brain. The lack of education, the lack of understanding of our true selves, which is purposely done. And
the divide and conquer.
Of course. I mean, I don't blame them. If I knew that this person was as powerful as they could be, why would I help you? We couldn't play sports. We couldn't play baseball. We couldn't play basketball.
Yes, the Willie Lynch brothers.
We couldn't do all of these things. And then James Brown came out. I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Just open the door. I'll get
yes.
So it's on us. And I hope before I leave here, I'll see a greater sense of understanding that is on us. But the bottom line, Matt, I believe what you say. If I become a millionaire, there are going to be some other millionaires around me.
It has to be.
It
has to be. You want for your brother what you want for yourself.
Absolutely. I like to add something to that. I mean, I've been listening to so many powerful things. And what's so important to understand that we were already here. We were already here. And what has been lost, and what I truly believe has been lost, is something in our mindset has switched. They personally change and really switch our thinking. But we always had the thought of community. We always had the belief of those proverbs of everyone else will learn, right? Abuelita always used to teach me that in Puerto Rico. It never changed. It's one of those concepts that has been in us, embedded in us, and we have to remember that within our spirit. And the way to change that is to change our mindset and start relearning how to truly learn how to deal with money, how to really take care of yourself, how to take care of your body, your spirit, your temple. All that will help clear your mind to think more clearly. Higher vibration will only let you move forward when you stop believing that you can't. Because who told us we can't? They did. And then it slowly starts doing it with our DNA. But once we start changing those processes by taking care of ourselves and really listening to people like women like Dr. Woodhouse, we have the capability to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right on.
I just want to say that the key thing that we need to take away from Black Wall Street is that Black Wall Street is that these people did not have education. They weren't college graduates. You know, they didn't have degrees, doctorate, anything, and they were able to be self-sufficient. Right now, we think that the only way we're going to be able to build is by if we learn this knowledge, if we learn this skill. These people just decided to be self-sufficient, build their own houses, build their own schools, do all this thing, and that made them develop. And I think that's something that needs to be taught in our school system right now, how to stand on your own without so much government insight. I doubt that will happen, but I think that will be the key in overcoming the economic depression of a lot of the communities in Flint and freaking in Detroit. And, you know, just overcoming this depression economically, and that we see that's been burdened on us by, of course, racism. So it's just self-sufficiency. And I just hope that lesson is going to be taught. Whatever was taught during Black Wall Street, what gave this community the spirit to just go out and make themselves grow, that we just start tuning into that and figuring some stuff out without so much PPP loans and all these things that they're trying to give to us. Because honestly, I'm seeing that, yes, they're giving a lot of loans and everything out, but that's also creating debt. That's also creating a lot of things that a lot of people can't afford right now. So the fact that we're learning how to just build your own wealth without so much debt is something that is needed.
I think
I just want to add something there, and I understand, Melissa, what you're saying, but there's some stuff that we need to get that's really ours. And know the debt, but you know, they're not stupid. This country is a very wise and conniving country. Okay, so you mentioned the PPP loans. Remember that those PPP loans, if you understand the basics, it's a forgivable loan. Okay, but you got to remember to go ask for the forgiveness. The economic disaster, they created those elements. The economic disaster loan itself is a 30-year, 3.75% loan. But they're not going to let you just do that. So what did they do? They created the target economical disaster loan that was targeted for certain areas, supposed to be low income areas. You go on there and you see the map, and you know, there are places that we live in where we work out of our home where we can get that loan. It's not a big amount of money. It's $10,000, but it's non-payable, forgivable. We need to get some of the money. You know, we talk about reparations all the time, and there's some large things we can do about reparations. We need, though, and what I see is that we need, if we're going to utilize this capitalistic society need not to be outside of the box. We need to be in the box and work within it, but also realize that the real truth is there ain't no box. So these things, if we knew better, you know, a lot of times I spend on my show, I talk about continuously about structuring our businesses properly. Yes, a lot of the people in Black Wall Street were not formally educated, but a lot of them were. You know that the dentists,
they were doctors.
The dentists in Black Wall Street owned the metro system, owned the buses that people look. This is some grandeur that we can say, and we need to share this information, that we were self-sufficient. You know, even in the village of Harlem back in the days, I remember that watching the films of where people were self-sufficient. We need to talk about economics. And I remember the brother that just was on, you know, you talk about the bartering system. This system is so evil at times. So they know we barter. We, you know, you got this, I got this, we good. But what did they do? IRS came around in 1987 and said, bartering, taxable. You know, so they're not enacting it right now, but watch what happens if we start doing it. You got to learn how to work the system. You know, remember his name we won't talk about, he who just left the White House. He said it so well. You got to learn, they know how to use the system. They're not using it in a begging mode. It's a business mode. It's a corporation. You realize that we shy away from being corporate bodies. But if we don't have to be a corporate body, you own a corporate body. We got to do this right. We can do it.
I totally understand what you're saying. Definitely, if there's resources out there that are be giving, like the people and the forgiveness part, if you're educated enough to know how to not get it without owing it back, yes, use it. But what I'm also want to just put out that we need to create more of our own system. I want more Black colleges making some of that money forgivable. Why are there so much Black students in debt? Why do you have to go to the government for them to forgive $10,000 of that money? Why isn't our Black colleges doing that for their students and seeing how they are being depressed economically by the system that they have created? We need to take responsibility somewhat for our improvement.
Well, I think
one more thing is just like you mentioned about the colleges. We don't know where to go. The first thing they do is give us the student loan. But there's things called, there's Candid.org. I talk about it all the time on my show. But I'm going to say it. We sometimes just too doggone lazy to go find out what we need to do so that we don't pay these things. Candid.org is all the foundations that exist in this country. Do you realize that and I'll tell the story. There was a young lady, went to undergrad school and got a full scholarship, got to grad school and they said, welcome, but there was no benefits, no grants, no nothing. But she knew that she wasn't supposed to pay for her education. So what did she do? She went to Foundation Library and found her money. I give all praises to Procter & Gamble. Thank you very much, because I was that young lady.
That's right, tell me. And she's getting an award this weekend.
If you know better, you do that.
It's there. You know?
That's how you do it.
Let me jump on.
Go ahead, Brother Tyrone.
Tyrone,
before you go, let me hold you, unless you got to go real quick.
No. I was just wanted to pick back on some of that valuable information that went out there, and it touched on a lot of my topic, which was the leverage.
Sure. And I was going to say that people have to, and Melissa, borrowing money is not a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Borrowing money, owing money is not a bad thing if you know how to leverage it properly. And that's what Tyrone showed with. White people do it all the time. They leverage what they have and what they can do and use somebody else's money to get what they need to get. We need to learn to play the game. And that's where financial literacy comes in. That's where Yana and Tyrone come into play and teach us how to do those things.
Business.
Right, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, there's a lot of things I think in our community we have misnomers about and don't know the full information about. And it travels within our community like a virus. that actually we don't realize holds us down. And we're thinking we're being proactive about it, and we're really not. We're really keeping ourselves away from being successful. Every single last person on this panel is successful because they understand how money works.
It is.
So, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Tyra, real quick.
Real quick. Okay, so there was some things that were said. Why our people run from money is because, as everyone said, we're just not educated enough. We don't know enough. We've learned from grandmother, who learned from great grandmother, who learned from great great grandmother. So all we have to do is just re-educate. There was something that was brought up about the marijuana industry. Again, California and Denver and Oregon and all those places out west, they're blowing up because of being able to regulate it, monitor it in the manner in which that's seeing new revenue streams come into those areas. So Cannabis U is a great location to really start ramping up that education, because of the fact that as soon as they realize it really here in New York State, they're going to be looking for bud tenders. They're going to be looking for everyone with certification. So instead of being reactive, we need to be proactive. Services is the way to go. If you are an individual who has a God-given talent, you should be now offering that talent or selling that talent to the highest bidder. You should not be just giving it away. And too many of us right now are giving our God-given talents to an industry or an institution that really doesn't care. They devalue you with that minimum understanding that they're bringing you in with. They're giving you a minimum wage to do exceptional work. That is an oxymoron. So we need to really rethink about how we're addressing ourselves when we get in front of that individual for that job interview, that paycheck. And then Tony said something that was extremely important, which was changing the narrative. I think it was said a couple of times, we don't speak to us, we speak to them. And that's unfortunately, we really got to think about who our audience is and whom we're presenting our information to. And once we do that, we become more empowered, and we need to keep that empowerment. We sometimes, again, devalue ourselves when we are cut off from a loan, when we're cut off from a job. When that's not to say that you're not going to get it. It just, we have to put three letters in front of it. Yet, Y-E-T. It might not happen yet, but it's going to happen.
Find it.
That's it. That's it. All we have to do is get in front of our fears, and our fears will then be behind us. And too many of us, unfortunately, are looking at those fears dead in the face every single morning. I was one of them. I had horrible credit. And I only got good credit because I got away from the fear of thinking that, oh, Black people are only going to have bad credit because of the stigmatism that's out there. And at last point, to the individual who said something about the schools. Well, it's already in the schools, because I'm in the schools. As a substitute teacher, I made it my goal to make sure that all our kids, don't matter Black, white, Chinese, Latino, it doesn't matter. As a community, we have to look not only just within ourselves, but we also have to look at our communities of color and make sure that we're building back better communities of color. If we start doing that, then we can own stuff. Yep. We need to buy back what has been taken from us. They don't have to give us anything. And Reverend Al said it the best. All we need them to do is get their knee off our neck.
I'm going to jump in, Tyrone. Yes. And this conversation right now, I guarantee you, is the exact same conversation they had at Black Wall Street when it started.
Wouldn't doubt it.
You know what I'm saying? They had this kind of conversation about money, about power, how we're going to direct our resources and our knowledge base. What do we need to teach? What do we need to bring forward? Yada, yada, yada. And, you know, we're going to definitely get back in. Melissa, thank you, because, Yana, we need to do a show on the HBCUs. And HBCUs are struggling. They don't have the power to tell you that to forgivable loans, stuff that they can't. They're about to go underground at this moment. You know what I'm saying? It's a business situation. And a part of it is because we don't go to HBCUs like we should. You know what I'm saying? And we don't support it like we should. So I'm going to jump in real quick.
Matt, really quick. Let me share some numbers with you really quick.
Hold on a second, Tyrone. Hold on before you share those numbers. Let me bring, because Sandy's here, the Urban Cinderella, the host of The Choice. She's here. She's been in the background waiting. And this is my girl, Loving to Death. And she is here. She just came back from the National Action Network. She might have a couple of, some information, some news to tell us. So ladies and gentlemen, here she is. Sandy Alexis, the urban Cinderella herself. There she is. What's going on, girl?
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. And I was excited to go to NAN because I was outside. I didn't really want to go inside because I felt like they were gonna give the same mayor speech, and I wasn't really here for it. So I was really here to ask them, like, so do you know that Black Wall Street is about to celebrate their 100-year anniversary? And come to find out, Stringer did not know.
Who didn't know?
Stringer.
Wow.
So that was probably the most interesting thing, and I was like, well, you probably want to stay tuned for this following up week so you could get educated and so you could tell the rest of your people around you. But definitely Ray McGuire sent his love to you, Dr. Yana. So he said congratulations, and I had everybody tell you congratulations as well. So I'll show you the footage when I see you. So that was probably one of the highlights that I went out there to not only say that we had 2 people from New York City being honored in Tulsa, but definitely to I told Maya, since she is running as a Black woman for mayor, how you're the first, and she's liable to be the first too. So I want to get those 2 histories connected. So I was excited. There was a lot of information out there, but you know, it's a race, so it's a lot of politics. But my whole goal was to connect Tulsa in the anniversary with the mayor forum that they had at NAN today.
Okay.
God bless you.
It's funny. We have, and I'm so excited about this whole evening. And I appreciate you guys for watching. Those of you who are tuning in, there's more and more is growing. And the panelists, everybody, the talk show hosts, every single last one of you, because these kind of conversations are very important. These kind of conversations about money, about power, about strategy is so important, about collaborative thinking. It's so important. And, you know, yesterday we had a phenomenal time. We went with Jasmine and I went with Yana to get her clothes for her awards. And there's a fabulous woman who is just making and tailoring and, you know, augmenting Yana's clothing that she got. And this woman is phenomenal. And like, you know, I've met her twice now, what have you. But yesterday, when it was all said and done, and Yana had her beautiful gown on, you guys will see it this week, when, you know, and she looked so regal. And this lady we were talking to, Leonard Davis, who is, you know, our fashion guy. He's the guru of fashion here in New York. He knows everybody. Damn man, he started fashion in New York and stuff. So in his circle of friends, it's ridiculous. This lady who I didn't even know, but she's so humble. She's a little lady too, shorter than Jasmine. And
every time. Knows. I mean, come on, Papa. About Tony's age. Now you're talking about height.
Hey, you know, I was the class clown, so you know, hey. But this lady, how come that she started telling her story? Because Yana was telling her story about Wall Street, and then she started telling her story about this woman was amongst the first Black designers who had her clothing line in Federated clothing stores, Bloomingdale's. This woman is phenomenal. She was the head designer for NASA. And the racism that she
know that part. The reason why the astronauts are able to, you don't see their urine bags in their space outfits is because of her.
Yes.
I'm telling you, she's awesome.
Yes. What's her name?
She is dope.
Vivian Harris.
Yeah, we're gonna have her on.
Shout out to you, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna have her on one day, and but there's we would just me, her, Yana, and Leonard and Jasmine was sitting around, just having a roundtable discussion like this and letting them talk. And it was so powerful to hear her and Yana tell about their stories of racism and struggles, of what they had to go through, of the racist mindsets that these men had when they came into their territory. And, you know, how this woman, how she fought back by using economic empowerment and saying, well, you know what, when people came to her place that she worked at and she was the head designer, and they didn't think she was the head designer because she was Black. And, you know, and they would bring out all this fabric and she said, I don't like any of it. And this, we're not going to use any of your stuff, knowing because they were racist towards her, they did things to her, said things to her, and demeaned her in certain ways, not knowing who she was. And she just said, nah, no, thank you. We don't like your stuff. We don't want your stuff. We're going to use somebody else. And they would talk to her boss. Well, hey, how come? Well, she's in charge. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, but she hit these people in their pockets. And when they found out who she was, how they would send her flowers and, you know, all kind of stuff, try to, you know, raise themselves with her again and whatever. But she was smart enough, as Yana was when she was in Wall Street, and how they tried to do things and, you know, threaten her damn near in ways and, you know, so forth and so on, and how she outshined them and outsmarted them and outwitted them. These stories are so important. And we know those same stories are in Black Wall Street. So Black Wall Street continues the DNA, the osmosis of the DNA gene is passed down to us that we don't even know it. You know, how Tony does what he does and what he was doing in Harlem and in City College, how Dr. Flora does what she does, you know, in Puerto Rico and in Harlem and her health clinic, and how Tyrone does and how Gina does as an educator. And how Melissa does as a performer, as an actress.
And a realtor.
And what?
And a realtor.
And a realtor. So I was getting to that. You might, if you need to buy a house, go see Melissa. You know, and how Sandy does, and she calls herself the Urban Cinderella because there's a story behind it. And we're going to get a chance to tell that story, you know, how every Black child is a Cinderella in every Black child, and opportunity for them to you know, find that glass slipper, you know, so to speak. So there's a lot of things here. Jasmine and how she's become the you know, hey, we can't do without Jasmine person and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you know, she's made herself an integral part of Soul City and made it herself not only an integral part of Soul City, but one of the dominating factors of why Soul City is successful. You know what I'm saying? So all those things are very important. These stories need to be told. These conversations need to be had. These people who are listening need to keep talking back. You know what I'm saying? And asking us questions and making statements. You know, Patriana said a lot of stuff on there. Melvina George has been chiming in all damn day, night and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And Stacy. So everybody who is watching this, and there's dozens of you guys who are watching, maybe hundreds. These forums are put in place because it's not for me, it's for us. It's for us. It's for us to talk to the community, find out what the community needs. How can we service those needs? How can we create programming? How can we create opportunities that people in the community can take advantage of? We can thrive and still be successful. That doesn't mean that everybody else can't thrive and be successful either. We don't have to be the only ones who's successful. You know, so I think Tony alluded to it earlier. My joke is always, hey, look, I don't want to be the only one in the neighborhood that owns a yacht. You know what I'm saying? I want you to have a yacht too, because I don't want you borrowing my yacht. I'm selfish in that way. Have your own damn yacht. You know what I'm saying? You know, let's make opportunities for others to have the same thing. Again, you want for your brother what you want for yourself. So, you know, let's continue that movement towards collaborative thinking, collaborative being. You know what I'm saying? We have to be together. You know what I'm saying? We have to be together, think together, live together, and survive together. Survival. And Jasmine, one day when the story is told, when we ink these deals we have on the table, I'm going to tell the story. Because you guys are going to see the story. You actually see the story live. That's a hint to what's going to happen. But the story will be told of how we were able to do what we did and help the community at the same time in a monumentous way that's never ever been done before in history. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's about history. You know what I'm saying? It's about creating history. It's about being history. Every single one of us is a part of history. What is your chapter going to say? What is your chapter in history going to say? And those are the kind of things I'm always looking forward to and trying to, get George's back again. George says we need a seminar. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We need to have more conversations like that will take 2 hours. And people are hanging in with us. for the whole 2 hours. They're listening. They're absorbing it. So, I want to definitely thank you guys. Anybody else have anything quick to say before we go? Sandy, get Sandy, because you're back.
Yeah, I wanted to say something because as I research and listen to the interviews with from Congress with the Black Wall Street, the survivors and everything, and what I was really noticing was like it was so many layers to Black Wall Street, and I felt that in the layers, whatever is strong at your heart, it's almost like that's where the ancestors want us to continue that conversation. So I feel like whatever I watched that tug at my heart, that's my part to fill in that blank to extend that conversation and on behalf of my ancestors. So that's what I really got out of the whole. I mean, that's the excitement that I have going into it, and that's what I got out of all the research that I did researching Black Wall Street is that there's a lot of layers to it, and there's different things that pull at our hearts and our souls, and whatever that is, that's our gap for us to fill in and extend the conversation of our ancestors moving forward.
I so agree with you, and I think that one of the major questions that we should ask ourselves is, what was their urban planning model, and what could ours be? And maybe I know that's probably something Tony's very interested in and knows a lot about.
He probably knows it. He was
but
there.
the early part of their success was, I mean, did you see the blocks, the way the houses were, and the way the banks were? Then there were their churches. They really thought about how to lay out their world. And I think that's something that requires a lot of questioning for us as Black people. How do we want our world to look, our environments to look, our playgrounds, our infrastructure? And those are the larger questions that we should begin to ask ourselves to kind of move forward, stand on their shoulders, and continue the work.
Yeah. I would like to add something very powerful that, when everyone is talking, one of the things that I have to really say that Tony mentioned earlier, 50 years of Marvin Gaye, of what's going on, says a lot. It speaks volume. It speaks where we have been and where we are going. And what's going on to me also speaks the love and the passion that's within us to do what we need to do and continue on what our ancestors wanted us to do. And if we continue to do that and understand that our mind, our body, our spirits, our financial wealth are all incorporated and we're not separated, that is in us, and we can and shall continue to do that. But we prosper with higher vibration and having this type of conversation, because it comes with us in our indigenous roots, wherever it came from, whether it's the Caribbean, Africa, Mexico, Puerto Rico. The whole point of the matter is indigenous people from wherever you are, we were already here at it, and we can do it when we know that it's in us already.
And just go ahead, Tony.
One last thing for me, it's a senior moment, but it's something that Matt has been hitting on, so I might as well take advantage of it. I think that the most important thing that I can leave everyone with is the fact that happiness starts from inside. Nothing outside of you can make you happy. And once you begin to understand that, you begin to take control of your life. You don't need to have that car, because when you get that car, after you get it, it's something else. That woman, those clothes, those whatever. The fact of the matter is that if you can really begin to understand and cherish the fact that all you need to be happy is what you was born with, and you have that inside of you, help you deprogram yourself from the brainwash. So I'll leave that with my comment.
That is so true. Again, I tell everybody, even my students today, I tell them, you got to love yourself first before you can love anyone else. And if you don't, then you're going to have a very challenging time making it through life. And then again, this is my third panel of beautiful Black men and women. Beautiful. Every single one of you, I want you to get in that mirror and write that affirmation down. Tell yourself how beautiful you are. Go out and relish and literally keep this going. This is my third.
You don't have to tell Dr. Flora that.
I know, right? See what it says. He's written on every wall.
And I'm telling y'all, beautiful too.
But it is so refreshing it is so rewarding to have and for me, it's brand new. This is new. I've always been in corporate America, 29 years, 19 different companies. I've gone my way. I thought I was going to be a CEO for somebody else's company, and now I'm a CEO for my own company. So for me, it's just been a blessing to always continue to do this. Matt, again, you are our leader of this ride that we're on, and we appreciate you. Jasmine, Matt's already said it. You know, you my go-to girl. And then Yana, of course, the queen of all queens, who makes it happen for us all the time, because we still got an appointment to, once you get back from Tulsa, we're going to be sitting down and you're going to get me back on that path of the investing piece. Absolutely. But I just wanted to leave you guys with a couple of numbers here. If we eliminate the disparity between Black and white consumers, we could add an additional $2.7 trillion in income. In income. That is equal to 0.2% of the GDP. So, I mean, again, expanding housing credits available to Black borrowers, we could expand Black ownership by an additional 770,000 homeowners, increasing home sales by $218 billion. And lastly, by giving Black entrepreneurs access to fair and equitable access to business loans, we can add an additional 13 trillion in business revenue and potentially create 6.1 million jobs per year. So we can do it. We just got to want it more than those who are offering it to our people. And that's what we do here. And I can't thank all of you. Continue to travel safe. Love you all. And I can't wait till we're all doing this again. Juneteenth is coming up. Let's continue living and loving ourselves as much as we possibly can.
Have fun and give a whole bunch of love to my sorority sister, Kamala Harris. Woo!
Yeah.
We're in the same. Hey, Dr. Hey, Dr. Laura, we're in the same sorority. Are you an AKA?
Yes, I am.
I am too.
Good Lord. You know what? We're going to have some fun. I can't wait. I wish I could take all of you with us to Tulsa. But we will be there next year. All of us will definitely be there next year. And because I'm going to keep that party going. If I have my way, and it looks like I will, I'm going to keep that party going every year from this point on in Tulsa. And when we come back, we will be linking with Tyrone and, doing some things with the Juneteenth Festival and being a part of that, to what he's doing. So we'll be talking about that and doing some more stuff with Juneteenth. So because for us, Black empowerment never ends. Black cultural empowerment never ends. We have to continue to do it every day and find every chance we get. And, we'll be sitting down with Dr. Floyd. We're going to go to Puerto Rico and do some stuff in Puerto Rico. And we're gonna get with Sandy and go to Haiti, do some stuff in Haiti. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna go all over the world with this whole thing and empower Black people across the land. Across the universe. When we finish here on this planet, we're gonna find another planet to go to with some Black folks, and make some stuff happen. So that's our whole thing. William, thank you, brother. William Adams is on. He's our photographer. He's just said much power to Soul City. Thank you. William is our photographer over in Tulsa. He's coming with us. He's part of the Soul City team. He's also our realtor who handles all of our real estate endeavors and stuff like that. Very brilliant brother. But he's also a very talented photographer. And he'll be coming with us, taking all the pictures, all the close-ups of Yana and Michelle together and Kamala together. And we got to definitely give you a shout out. And Carolyn C. James says to the panel, "You are an inspiration. My mind is thinking clearly. Thank you." There you go. And that's what it's all about. All we can ask for, I tell people, man, no matter what I believe, more than likely it's probably going to be a lot different than what you believe. But I can't stop you from thinking the way you want to think. All I can do is give you my information and say it's worked for me. And this is what I know. And here are the resources that I got them from. And here's why I do what I do. And you still got to make the choice, which is what Sandy's show is all about, choices. You know what I'm saying? The choice at the end of the day is yours. If you're successful or not, it's the choices you made in life that put you on that path to either success or non-success. It's not, don't use the word try, because there is no try. You either do or you do not. There is no try. Try is just a good word for an excuse of why you didn't do something. You know what I'm saying? So, let's keep on moving forward, do what we got to do. I love every single last one of you guys. Thank you, Kathleen Hopkins LaQuint, another huge Soul City supporter. Without Kathleen over the years with Hottest Poets and the other things we do, even with Soul City, without her support, and Melvina, who was on here, and George, others who have been around us, those of you, Elizabeth, those of you who just listen every day to my crazy ass sometimes saying stuff and, doing what I do, and just being a part of the show and being a part of the family. We love each and every one of you guys. Once again, this celebration is about Black culture, Black economic empowerment, and we are definitely celebrating Dr. Yana B. Woodhouse for her work and her, there you go, how money works. And her umpteen years of power in the community, helping the community. Remember she said.
Just one more thing, we got a Spanish too.
You got a Spanish?
That's right.
Remember Yana said she went to Wall Street because they wouldn't service her clients. She said, well, you're not going to service my people? Guess what? I'm going to come in and learn what you know, and I'm going to service my people. And that's what she did. That's what makes her a powerhouse. That's what makes her successful. It makes her a living legend in our community because of what she's done for the community. And I will be a testament to it. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't be where I am without Yana. You know what I'm saying? I'm quite sure Jasmine can say the same thing and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Without Yana in our lives teaching us, you know what I'm saying, and what we know about money. And then Tyrone coming in with a cool extra stuff about leveraging stuff. Okay, yeah.
Without the money, you gotta have help. Hello.
No, you know what I'm saying? And leverage your powers, ladies and gentlemen. Learn to leverage your power. Because other people leverage theirs. They leverage theirs and stuff. So, I'm gonna end it unless somebody else got something else to say. Hold on a second. Elizabeth just said that's what all our Black-owned businesses need to do, stand together. And that's the bottom line. If we stand together, it's going to be hard for us to fall. And that's what I always say. Stand together. It is hard for you to fall because somebody if you're falling, you're going to lean on somebody.
I just wanted to say also, Matt, we can't leave out, we talked about it, but we can't leave out Stacy. She's put together.
Stacy, I'm sorry. Yes, sorry, Stacy. Yes. Stacy. Thank you. Yes, without Stacy, matter of fact, our press release is out right now. Stacy wrote the stuff. Wonderful supporter from the very, very beginning, from day one. Matter of fact, one of our first loyal supporters. So there's so many people that when my book is written, it's going to be long, and it's going to be a whole bunch of names in there, and one page is going to be about me. You know what I'm saying? Every other page in that book is going to be about everybody else and what they did and how they helped and their contribution to it. Because again, it's all about the soul. That's why I named it Soul City. It ain't got nothing to do with it. It's about the soul. What's in your soul? Saying what can you use? What can you bring from your soul to make the world better for somebody else? How are you going to control the narrative? Somebody going to speak for you always, or are you going to speak for yourself?
Amen.
And that is all I care about. And everybody on here, Pastiana, thank you. We'll definitely talk further. One of my favorite people in the world, Pastiana, who's listening. I'm done. Anybody else got anything else to say?
No, just go out and be great. And like Nana says, go out and be the distributors of the God-given light.
There you go. Go out and be distributors of the God power that you are. That's what we say every week in our meditation and metaphysics class. That's how it is. The God power that you are. So, hey, thank you guys. I appreciate every single last one of you guys. Please watch every show, Access Wealth Nation, Say That, Her Story, Urbanology, Love Stream, The Choice, and Leverage Your Score, and the other shows, Synergy, Soulful Synergy, People Power, And there's more. We got about 20 more shows getting ready to come. We got
including my show
in the pipeline.
My show
Matter of
coming.
fact, Jasmine got a show.
What?
Jasmine has a
Jasmine got a
show.
show.
Yeah.
Jasmine got a show. And y'all don't know, Jasmine, and she really is. I love Jasmine. I tease her all the time. I tease everybody in here. Y'all know I was a class clown, so I can't help myself. But
You're still a clown.
I am still a clown. But everybody in here, but Jasmine is talented. If it wasn't for Jasmine, like the majority of whatever videos we got that comes out, promo videos, whatever Jasmine does, she jumps in and says, I got this. I can make it happen. Jasmine does everything. But Jasmine, y'all don't know, is also not only really good at marketing and keeping things together, but she actually is a talented writer of music. And she got the craziest beats and she writes. And she had a whole show just on music coming out. That's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. It's going to be about beats. It's going to be about this and that. And yo, we're going to see Jasmine doing her thing. It's going to be
man.
So we got.
We're going to be bringing together a lot of producers and talented producers and talented artists from all around the country. So we're going to tap into everybody here, everybody watching. If you know a talented producer or artist, tag them in this video here. Send me an email. Send Soul City an email. Send us their info, and let's get things started.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Own little plug.
There you
Finally.
go.
Don't forget Mario Andretti's.
There you go. Down the unofficial NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, y'all. Yeah, that's one thing we do teach that, but we ain't teaching them. We actually tell them the truth because Jasmine is she's a driver. Let's put it that way. That woman drives, and she drives. In her own speed limit most of the time, and but it's like she's the safest driver in the world. But Lord have mercy, if you knew how long it took us to get to Atlanta when we drove there. we beat all records. We don't broke the Guinness Book of World Records getting there.
That wasn't on purpose.
Jasmine. And if those who saw it, go back and so it's on here somewhere. When we did the NASCAR thing, and we're still with NASCAR. We got a race coming up in June. That's the other thing. But Jasmine did drive the NASCAR. She got behind that wheel, got her put on her little NASCAR suit and her helmet, got behind that wheel and took off on that track. And it was, going around that track, boy. So, so Jasmine is definitely our NASCAR driver. So if you ride with her one day, just buckle up. That's what we can say.
Please.
You know what I'm saying?
Buenas noches.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. You guys be safe. We will put the schedule out on Wednesday. The schedule of the filming and the broadcast of the events will be out on Wednesday on Soul City, on Facebook, on the Soul City website, soulcity.me, and other places. So you will see it. You'll know when to tune in, when to watch the award ceremony, when to see Yana, her fabulous outfit that she'll be wearing when she gets home. She got 2 awards coming, 2 different days. She got 2 awards, and she got a different outfit for each award and stuff. And one is more fabulous than the other. So, we're going to actually. I feel bad for Michelle and Campbell. They're gonna just be like corporate standing next to Yana and stuff. Yana got some 8-carat diamond earrings. She's gonna break out and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So. It's gonna be incredible. So we are gone. Sandy, get yourself ready to go. Pack your bags. My bags are already packed because I got to do the show tomorrow night with Herb. So I am already packed. But let's rock and roll. Love you guys. Bye-bye. We are out.
Take care.
Travel.
Congratulations, Yana. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Congratulations.
Bye, man.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.
Travels.
Thank you.
Take care.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.